I'm sure the title and the thumbnail will give it away, but today's video is going to be about Wrath from Arctic Fox. So I have my labels, I have my swatches labeled 1 through 12. That's not synonymous with hair levels. 1 is green, 2 is a deeper blue, 3 is a natural red, and then number 4 is black. So from 4 to 11 we have a range that goes up to platinum blonde. And then number 12 is like a toned version of number 11. And then just to kind of highlight what I'm going to do, I will take the dye directly from the bottle and I'll put that at the top of each swatch. And then some people do dilute their dyes, so I will dilute it down the strand and I'll tell you measurements for that as we go. And also, I just want to say that I can't personally guarantee that this is going to be what Wrath looks like on your hair. Everyone's hair is different, so everyone's hair will take dye differently. I recommend that you just use this video more as a reference point as to what it could look like. It's always best to do as much research as possible. So for the center, we're going to do a mixture of 1/4 of a teaspoon of hair dye with a teaspoon of diluter. And then for the end mixture, we're going to do 1/4 of a teaspoon of dye, but this time a tablespoon of diluter. Alright, I'm going to let these sit for 3 hours. I will rinse them out, and then once they are dry, I will meet you back here so we can do some comparisons. So to start, I would say this is a dye that could work on dark hair because I do see it on number 5. It definitely gave the hair a red tone to it. Even number 1, which was green and red are opposites on the color wheel. Diluted, it even covered up most of the green, so it's pretty pigmented in my opinion. As for comparisons, I've heard that Wrath is a pink undertone red, so I want to compare it to Poison, which is an orange undertone red. So this is comparable to number 12. This is comparable to number 11. This is comparable to number 10. Number 9, number 8, number 7. I technically don't have comparisons for number 5 and 6. When I buy these swatches, they come in like a pack, I guess, and then I separate the hairs to make 2 separate packs, I guess, of swatches. So the 5 and 6 that I have for Poison are not similar enough to where I want to compare them. They're actually a little bit lighter than these, but I would assume that they would probably look similar anyways since they are both red and they are darker hairs. On that note though, I do have a comparison for number 2, number 3, and number 1 as well. So I don't remember the ratio that I used for Poison. I want to say it was probably the same. I could be wrong. But that being said, Poison didn't cover the green as well in the diluted portion. So that just tells me that Wrath is probably a little bit more pigmented. But seeing them compared, you really can see the more pink undertones in Wrath versus Poison. I feel like especially on the diluted parts. So both of number 3's took the red really well. Pretty much all the way down it looks consistent even though they're diluted. Number 2, they were both blue beforehand. And I think it's the pinkness in Wrath that kind of turned the diluted parts purple, which I think is pretty cool. I was kind of hoping for that. And it didn't happen in the Poison video, but it's cool to see that it did happen in the Wrath video. So just seeing how pink the undertone is with Wrath, I did want to compare this to Virgin Pink from Arctic Fox as well. This is comparable to number 12, number 11, and number 10. I mostly wanted to see if the diluted portion looked anything like it, but the undertones are very different in both of them, Virgin Pink being much more cool-toned. Oddly enough, I haven't done that many reds on my channel, so this will probably be the last red. This is Garnet from Ion. This is comparable to number 12. This is comparable to number 11. This is comparable to number 10. And this is comparable to number 9. So I don't know if my camera can kind of pick up the minute differences. They do look pretty similar in person. I think Garnet is supposed to be a little, just a hair less pink and a little bit more muted, not quite as vibrant. I did do a blue swatch for Garnet as well. I feel like the results are pretty similar for that as well. On the diluted portion, it did give the blue dye a slightly more purple look to it. And if you did need like a little refresher, this is what the blue looked like before. And my last comparison is a dye that leans more pinky. It's not quite a pink. And that is the dye Special Effects in the color Burgundy Wine. This is comparable to number 1. This is comparable to number 12, number 11, number 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5. So yeah, the Special Effects dye definitely leans more purple. It's not even truly meant to be a red anyways. I just thought because it had more of the pink in it that I could compare it. Number 13 and number 1. Once again, I don't remember the ratio I used for Special Effects, but it kind of canceled some of the green out on the diluted portions, just not quite the same way that Wrath pretty much like covered the green. And again, I do think Wrath is very pigmented, and it's probably a little bit more pigmented than the Special Effects. So even on the diluted portions for the dark hair, you can still see it going down. I feel like on these Special Effects, you can mostly just see it where it's directly applied. They are different dyes, you know? Now that we have seen all the comparisons, let's get into the close-ups. if you have a request, I do have a link down below in the description for a request form that I have. Once you submit that, I kind of organize the request from there, but you can comment as well too, that's totally fine. I hope my video helped, and I hope to see you in my next one.